Good evening, everyone. So this is just to tell you a little bit about a project using Postgres. And how it all started is I used to work at West Thames College in West London. And while I was there, a colleague and I bid for the MolNet project and we got some funding. It all started with issuing students with mobile phones, obviously funded by MolNet, and we gave them a choice. We actually took a couple of handsets to the students and we said, okay, what would you prefer? And one of them was the old iPhone, which didn't have a camera and didn't have anything else. And after much deliberation, they handed back the iPhone and said, actually, that's for fun, but we probably need this other one for learning. And we told them what the project was about, and so that was their choice. Whether we made the right decision, I don't know, but let's see. The group of students that we worked with were 16 to 19 ESOL learners, and we also included an adult group as well. It was quite easy to collaborate, and that was part of the use of the phones, that they could just either email from the phone or from their computer. They could add images, video clips, they could add comments to things on Postgres, and it's really quite simple and easy to set up an account. And I noticed that recently Postgres have sort of updated and you can do even more things there now. But this finished about a year ago. We asked them to go away and do things, so it wasn't just classroom based, it was really to get them engaged with technology and with developing their literacy skills beyond the classroom. So we asked them to write, so if they were reading something, to write book reviews and to put them on Postgres. When they went out on work experience, we asked them to tweet about their work experience, maybe to use the video cameras to look at, you know, or take photographs of what they were doing and show us how things were going. And that was one of the things we found, that they were able to then communicate and still keep in touch with each other while they were away on their work experience. They could, during the classroom or even to prepare for class activities, they could record role plays, and as well as offering some peer correction when they put things up. We asked them to go one step further and think just beyond just the handheld technology, but we also asked them to think about generally what other things could we use for education, and you can see there are examples of some of the things that then came back on Postgres. And games-based learning is one of them, which could be developed. An example here was on work experience. Not only did they video and record a diary, we've got a clip of what their desk looked like, and then a little bit about their experience while they were on work experience. And you can see there that it's actually sent from their telephone. Also, when it came to recording processes and things like that, the teacher could put up the process, what they needed to do, and then a part of that, for example, maybe it's preparing a recipe, they could take photographs of step-by-step in the planning and the preparation. And again, this could be done outside the classroom and then sent up on Postgres. Overall, the feedback was very positive. The students loved doing it and really took an active part in doing it. Teachers too really took it on board and embedded the use within classrooms. Even hairdressing were able to video techniques and then go back, and as they were practicing techniques, they were able to then play recordings back on their mobile phones to make sure that they were practicing various techniques when they weren't at college. We found that because they were able to access technology and through using Postgres, they were able to communicate beyond the classroom. So it didn't just end, you know, at 3:30 when the bell rang. They actually continued chatting outside and emailing things to each other. And we promoted and used shared learning. And that's it, really. That's it for us. So thank you.
So just a quick show of hands, because there's a couple of schools that I work with down the front actually where we just started to use, I always call it Posterous, but I'm clearly saying it wrong, Posterous. Is anybody else aware of Posterous in the room that was actually been using it at all? Excellent, yeah, if you haven't, I really do recommend using it. It's if you can send an email and you can
Yeah.
send an email, really, then you can use that site. It's that simple. And because everything you want to put on the site, you just email it to the site.
Yeah.
And it knows what the format of the files are, and it puts them in the correct place. You send 5 pictures, it creates a slideshow. And we're using it, or you're using it with Year 1 children, aren't you? And Tom Barrett, if any of you follow Tom Barrett on Twitter, he has been using it, and a guy that I've met in London is also using it with his Year 1 kids. So it's a fantastic site.
Can I,
Yeah.
can I just ask, how do you get around pupils accessing this on their school networks?
I think that's the sort of that's a question with the school net. But I mean, part of that was that we had the mobile phones, which was outside the school network, so they could access them that way. And that, again, that's something to consider. You know, is it something that the school could open up and allow? Because you can create just a group, a specific group where they would put everything up, so it's not open to everybody who logs into Posterous. So you can lock the group down. It can be quite reasonably secure, I suppose. So I don't know if that helps. Anything else?
Was that the same question you were going to kind of ask, really? Or?
Yeah.
I was just going to say that it's kind of like a mini intranet, and it sort of is like, it could present the same sort of problems, yes, that you talked about getting through the school firewall into the VLE. I just wondered whether people have actually experienced any successful sort of examples of getting it through the firewall. Has anyone else tried it in a school environment?
Well, I'll talk to you later if you like. Yeah, I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. Yeah. I'll tell you what, because that was a question that I've got to be careful because my line manager's sitting there. But there was something we thought about quite a lot, and I feel quite strongly that access for this, given what it's going to be used for, was a good thing. So I will talk to you about that later on, because we did go through the site quite heavily and had some reservations to start with. So.
I mean, even just using mobile phones, before I kind of rush off and let the next person speak, you know, I found, even from my own personal experience with my daughter, when she was allowed to film a science experiment, it was great. She came home, she was so excited and showed it and said, "Mummy, look." And I said, "Okay, so what happened?" And suddenly it's that teaching and learning that's come home. And I was able to review it with her, but not by flicking through her textbook or anything like that, which is kind of very onerous and kind of a bit too teacher-like, but to say, "Oh, come on then, show me, let's have a look." And she talked me through the experiment and told me what chemicals are involved and things like that. So there are times when I think you need to be careful, but there are times when sometimes it's good to maybe break those rules, and not that I'm advocating people breaking rules, but, you know, allow students to maybe film something, a little bit of something, or to use it to create their own sort of worksheet or information sheet. So, good use. Thank you.
Thank you.